Okay, e4 this time. Wow, it would be wonderful if I could actually get back into playing where I'm not having the missed mouse clicks. That would be a wonderful time saver. Okay, so what do we have here? Vienna game, max Lange defense. I guess d3. And if the bishop plays to b4, should I be afraid? Okay. I'm going to do what? I'm actually going to play bishop here or knight here. I'm going to play bishop here. Let's see what black's going to do. To take or not to take is the big question. Black says, no, I'm not taking you and opening up the F file for your rook after you're castled. I don't care about doubling your e-pawns. I don't want your rook to have any fun when it's here. Okay, I understand that. If you're listening, are you understanding that? That's why black is not going with the doubling of the pawns, because this guy will have a ton of fun on the F file. So, candidate moves, knight f3, knight e2. I'm never really in a position to capture this bishop with my knight because I end up in a fork. But I'm going to still get in a position to just capture and at least prevent a knight recapture. Or a knight recapture and me maybe having to deal with a knight sitting there. Black may end up doing similar with their bishop on e6. So I think now's the time to chop this guy up. And let's see how black recaptures. If knight here, I think I'll take right away. And okay, so because otherwise I run the risk of being in a pin. So let's go knight. And now decision time for this guy. Play here to put pressure on this pawn or play in the center. Knight here, I think, eventually forces a pawn push, or there might even be a d5 move in response to it. Actually, knight here, d5 I could take, and then take this guy, although it is a bit scary. Knight f4 moves later on. I don't know if I'm really even threatening to take the pawn. I think d5 might be a good move, so let's go with this. It's entering a pretty dry position. I am having flashbacks of a game that I did play. I think Blitz time controls. I think it was actually against Windmill from a while back. And there was something like my f-pawn was able to get here. I ended up winning an f-pawn, and then that was it. But I think my opponent had opportunities in that game to definitely be equal. So let me do this and actually not open up the F file. So let's tuck this bishop back. And I need to get my butt castled. And as a continuation, F4. So now there's this tension, I think, is one that we both do well to maintain. I capture the bishop, black will have play on the F file. Black captures my bishop, I have play on the A file. Now, this I think is a slip up because I could throw in a check. Is that going to be inconvenient to black? I think it is. I'm actually going to run with it. Since this pawn moved 2 squares, there is no forming a b7, c6 structure to block that guy out. So now, let me just castle. And hopefully I could put this to good use here. f4 is my idea. And actually, let me think twice about that because my bishop's running the risk of getting crushed. And I don't like having that happen. He did his job. Well done. You chased the king away for a little bit. You stopped black from castling, but is it going to be enough to claim some advantage? Black has a bit of a space advantage. His pawn on d4, but with no minor pieces on the board, I mean, these guys are soon to be off. I don't know if just having the major pieces alone is enough to really show that this could maybe be some advantage. So I think this is really the only direction to go in as white to do anything. I'm still looking to have some play for my major pieces. My rooks need to get doing something. I want to be cautious about playing f5 because I give this square up, the e square, but in return I get the a file. So let me actually retain this pawn's flexibility. And if after pawn to b5, then I could think about this move. And after takes, I recapture, and then there's a home on a5, and maybe I could pinpoint the a6 pawn. But if this structure is persistent, I don't know what exactly to do. Like I'm a bit, again, reluctant to be playing f5. In the meantime, how can I make small improvements? Because that's really all I'm seeing right here. Okay, so now I actually have this. And this is something that black, I believe, should be shying away from. And it would seem that they're preparing this. No, they're not. They're just guarding the pawns. They're stopping this advance. So this is one of these I'm going to move quick and do a useful move, flight square. So my opponent, less than 2. I actually have a time edge. I may look into rook a4 and then b4 stuff. King here. How can I stir up some trouble? How about... let's see what black does in response to that move. I don't know what it's doing exactly, but I want to give it a whirl. She's got some lateral movement, so I guess she could maybe pivot on d5 one day. But, and you know, if this is dropping a pawn, the queen here is compromising the structure in some way. So I'm really seeing this position definitely get down to, okay, this is where we're going to have just a rook. That's what I was going to say, just a rook. King, rooks, and pawns position. Take the queens. We're about even with time. I think I'm going to go with that. So let's go, and then as a follow-up, what would I like to be doing here? Oh, I'm going to do this, actually. I could get a pawn on f5. I'm going to make some king improvements, I think. Let's go, king. What are you even doing? You're sitting home here. Let's go, h-pawn. You're not doing anything either. So these guys are all inching one step closer. To what? To victory lane? Rook a4, b4 ideas, opening up the b file, targeting this guy, and I keep things closed. I think this is benefiting me. And, well, maybe it's not benefiting me, or maybe it is. Let me do this. And actually, maybe this is a follow-up. If rook to c8, I might play this, and then rook a5 to b5. I get a pawn back. I'm going to go with it. So this king should be very scared. Or should it? Yeah, because these guys could be passed really soon. Am I getting trapped? No, I'm not getting trapped. Okay, let's come over here. Rook activity. This is the newly open file where even with time there might be this pawn push to break up this, but we're not having that. Let me go with more rook activity. So I have the active rooks. My opponent is on the defensive here. This pawn is going down, isn't it? If it's defended, I play rook b7. I think the only try is this, or not. I'm gonna run with grab this pawn. I'm on this one. There's gonna be a rook check, but there's not much that black could be doing now. These pawns are gonna be passed. So let's come towards the center to avoid the check. 31 seconds each. This pawn is falling with check. And let's trade a little bit. Rook trades. Let's go here. And okay. And I just gotta move quick here. Let's do this. I want to drop my. If I have to drop a pawn, I want it to be my h pawn. Okay. Pawn push. Pawn push with check. How much time? Pawn push. I'm looking for a rook check and then more pawn pushes. Oh, okay. That's let's go with this pawn now. He can't be caught, can he? Okay, now he can't be caught. My queen is there in time. Pin the rook. And then give a check and get the rook. I think that's it, right? No time. But what a tight game. Wow. Good game. Very good game. I think we've played at least once before. That was definitely the tightest game. Really good. Really, really tight the whole way through. So let's see. This is the Vienna game, Max Lange defense. Just making certain of that. And some interesting decisions right here. Not to take. Bishop to d4. I think there's... if black doesn't want to take the bishop, I think actually bumping it, or just, yeah, going backwards is maybe better. Like, why not go to the b6 square? And then, you know, then it's a situation kind of like it happened in the game where I went back to b3, the corresponding squares, b6, b3. If I take you, you get the half-open A file. So maybe bishop back to b6 is a bit better. But anyhow, we have that. And again, for some reason I'm feeling like knight e2 is met with d5 or something. Takes, and if I grab the pawn, knight f4, the queen hits my knight and is having pressure on g2. I could get very awkward very quick for white. So that's why I went with the knight d5, back up my bishop, and maybe just castle here, although I wasn't really able to exploit the king position. I think in this endgame it's maybe the computer would be saying white is slightly better, maybe, but not really enough to show an advantage as far as I could tell. Maybe maybe it's okay to actually play king g8, king h7, and then play queen g6, because I'm not sure what to even do in the meantime. Now, in the game, I ended up playing rook a4 and eventual b4 move, but if this queen is still going to be around on the board, that's maybe something that could be problematic. Like, it's not without allowing the rook play, the black rooks to have some play on the c file if I'm going to be playing that b4 push. But I felt it all right. Without the queens on the board, to be going with this idea, rook a4, b4. So I think maybe just not compromise the position, recognize if black is able to recognize, and I believe we're pretty much short on time at this point, but just recognizing that I really don't even have anything. Yes, it's an improvement, the h5 square instead of the f3 square, but I mean, what does she really think she's doing from here? Okay, she goes to d5, so what? d5, queen e6. I don't know if it's needed to compromise the structure like that. So, I don't know. Yeah, something's maybe off with that move, right? Because I have a passed pawn now. I was seeing right here something with black trying to undermine this structure. I think this is something to be looking into. This has to be broken down quickly before I can be giving check to the black king. And because it wasn't, black is really on the defensive now. So this, in that later, in this very, very late stage of the endgame, look into that g5 move. I think that was an important pawn break to be making.